Hi everyone, welcome to the Spinners Lounge. I'm Chidi and I welcome you to another show, and I've got with me another guest, and I'm going to let my guest introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Agostinho. I'm a DJ and party promoter based in East London, Stratford.
As always with the guests we invite, I'm quite happy with this one because obviously it comes from my neck of the woods, which is Stratford. But you're not originally from Stratford, are you? You're from...
No, I'm not. I'm originally from Canning Town, Custom House, but I moved here in the past year or so. So yeah, I kind of made a big move and moved like 20 minutes down the road. Or whatever. So yeah, so
No, but Stratford, as you know, Stratford's supposed to be up and coming, so it's not a bad area. It's changed a lot, but
yeah.
cool. And in terms of your name, obviously Agostinho, it's not a name that you'd commonly hear out on the street. Where's that name from? And how, you know?
my parents are originally from Angola, which is a country in Southern Africa, and it was a former Portuguese colony, so that's where the name comes from. And further on that, my name is actually an abbreviation of Agostinho Jr., which, because my dad's name is Augusto, so Agostinho is like Agostinho Jr. sort of thing.
Okay, cool. So I'm guessing in the household, did you listen to lots of Angolan music and things like that?
Yeah, we listen to a lot of Angolan music, but we listen to a lot of Angolan music, listen to a lot of Congolese music, because DR Congo is like right above Angola, so there's a lot of fusions there. But my dad was a massive George Michael fan for some reason, and my mum likes Tom Jones, so there was all that sort of stuff. So quite a lot of stuff that's on radio, a lot of African stuff. So it's just kind of a mix of everything, really.
So it was a good place to be. Then you got like sort of pop, and then you got
yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
At the time, maybe it wasn't the best. It was kind of annoying to hear that kind of music. But now, looking back on it with the stuff I'm into now, it was probably like a good education. Yeah, definitely.
Of course, it's always good to understand a bit of your culture as well.
Yeah.
And I was even before it was coming in, I was trying to think. I was going to look up some Angolan music and find some what the kind of big artists who. Do you know any big who's big in Angolan sort of music?
There's quite a lot of big ones, but the ones that I'm familiar with is probably like Keisha or something. He's kind of Portuguesey, whatever, but does a lot of like kind of Angolan type music, and he's probably the biggest that people would probably know of without realizing. He's done quite a lot of big tunes that people wouldn't know that's him that he does. So he's
Okay, cool. Right. So as with the Spinners Lounge, right, what we do is we kind of go through a series of questions, right? And the questions are just to find out a little bit more about you. So obviously you talked about the music growing up, the Angolan and the pop. So in terms of music, right, at a young age, before DJing or any of these things, what kind of music did you listen to, so yourself personally, away from whatever was being played in the house?
Personally, I was just listening to whatever was on TV, really. I grew up at the era when the box was kind of coming up on TV, so kind of like on-demand music videos, so a lot of just general pop stuff from Backstreet Boys, a lot of like stuff from Eminem when he first came out, a lot of like sort of like kind of rock stuff from like bands like Weezer. And then it kind of evolved, and then I kind of started getting into garage and started getting into grime when that first started. And a lot of the local stations that were around that time were kind of in my area. A lot of my friends used to MC, a lot of my friends used to DJ. So it kind of like went to that through step. So I'd say it kind of pop, and then it kind of went into grime and garage, and then it kind of went out again into pop and commercial stuff, and then back again into house and into all the other stuff that I listen to now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So with that, do you remember your first record you ever bought, or CD or anything like that?
Yeah, I think So the first CD I bought was the first album from Dizzy Rascal called Boy in the Corner, and then I think in that era too, I think I might have bought an album from Weezer, probably. I think two as well from HMV ages ago. But I think the first actual CD I bought with my own money was definitely Dizzy Rascal Boy in the Corner.
Okay,
yeah.
Why Dizzy Rascal Boy in the Corner? What made you specifically your pocket money say, right, I'm gonna go and buy that album?
He was probably the first sort of like standout kind of like underground success, like kind of like England had or London had at that time, especially in youth culture during that time in like the early thousands, whatever. And he he was sort of like he was a representation of grime. He was true to it. He produced a lot of the music that he was putting out. He had a very unique flow. kind of a really strange way about him, and also he just was probably the standout star. He had a really unique sound that came out to him, and when he put out the album, he put out a really sort of like no compromise, 100% representation of what he was about. So I kind of bought into that, and I kind of represented that straight away, and that was kind of something that I listened to probably like 2 summers long, like just kind of continuously playing it again on my CD player when I was in college and stuff. So yeah. Definitely.
I was just gonna say, how many times did you play the album?
Absolutely rinsed it to the point where the CD stopped working. Like it kept like whatever. So I guess that was probably a good representation of of how much of an artist, how much of an impact he had, especially on music at that time.
No, he did, because I'm sure he won
Mercury Prize.
Yeah, Mercury Prize for that album.
Yeah.
It's funny with him, because when I think of the album, I thought, a lot of people give it a lot of hype or whatever. But then since then, has he, I don't know, maybe I don't want to put words in people's mouths or whatever, but I don't think he's reached that height of that first album. But then that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I don't think you necessarily need to. He's probably, for me, a representation of a true artist. He kind of just put the music out at a time that he was really into, that he was representative of him. Then as soon as the gates were open to him to produce other stuff or just become another person or another kind of artist, he did that too. And I wouldn't want to listen to Dizzy Rascal I Love You now if he's like, no, I don't know, over 30. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. That Dizzy Rascal was something I want. The over 30 Dizzy Rascal, I want to hear what he's doing now. So for me, I kind of see someone that's naturally evolving, that's kind of like year on year, album to album. Some of the new albums are not for me, not personally something I'll be into. Yeah. But I'm happy that he's doing what he's into, something that he likes to do, and he's kind of evolving and just doing other stuff like just stadium songs that just kind of like would ring out in festivals. And some of the tracks on the first album probably wouldn't work on festivals. So that connection to it, you know what I mean? He's kind of survived. He's gone through loads of trials and tribulations and stuff. So I don't think. I think for me, that's probably what an artist truly represents. Someone that can do what they want to do continuously. If you wait to do Boy in the Corner until he was until he was dead, until he was in his 70s, then fair enough. But he didn't, and he did something else. And it's quite easy to do the same thing again, but he chose not to. So I respect that.
No, that's either way, he's a very successful artist, isn't he? Like I said, he represents UK and London culture to at the top of it. All right, cool. So now, right, we'll go into your DJing, right? So, at kind of what age or what happened or why did you get into DJing?
I firstly got into DJ. I was quite interested in DJ culture anyway to begin with. I used to watch loads of documentaries. I still do watch lots of documentaries on like kind of like underground scenes and scenes in like New York, in like Berlin and stuff, and hearing about clubs like Studio 54, hearing about legendary techno clubs like Berghain and all that sort of stuff happening in Berlin. I was really interested in that kind of like subculture where people were able to gather underneath one roof and sort of like have this communal, this shared interest, sort of like kind of a weird version of church. But like you all have a real big interest.
Religion,
you have a thing where you're all into it, and you look around and you're all this, you're all from different backgrounds, colours and creed, but you're all connected by this music. And at the forefront of this thing, like visually speaking, is a DJ. That's the person connecting all of you in there, whatever. And I was really interested in that. So then that evolved, and obviously from watching those documentaries, it kind of tinted my vision of what a club night or what a party should be like, and the stuff that I was going out to kind of party to didn't match up to the visions that I was seeing online, which is obviously unfair. But I had kind of like a high, kind of like a taste level in terms of what I wanted to listen to, what I wanted to be around. I couldn't find it, so I kind of just started to maybe find out a way how I could do it myself, and try to figure out, okay, if I can't find it, how am I going to do it myself? And luckily at that time, I met someone, a friend of mine, who happened to have the same interest, and we kind of started in the same time, and we just started organising parties for people and friends and stuff, and getting DJs into play. Then it didn't take long, within that year of first launching our party, that we run into roadblocks in terms of getting the DJs that we want, and maybe not having the ones that or maybe getting some that didn't work out, and it didn't really necessarily blend with what we were trying to do. So then we ended up having to DJ a lot more often, just pure necessity, because people weren't playing stuff that we wanted to hear. So that kind of evolved, and then you kind of really get into it. You start listening to more songs, more tunes, start widening your knowledge base, your taste level, and your musical influences. And then it's just, then now it's just kind of like an automatic default sort of thing, just kind of enjoying music and sharing it as much as possible. Yeah.
That's positive. That's a good way to obviously start something, especially when you become frustrated, not finding what you want as well. So, and in those early days, what was the music that you guys played then for your party?
The early days, we used to put our parties on in like trendy parts of East London, like Shoreditch, Dalston, and stuff to begin with. And in that area, it was quite responsive to like new, fresh music, but they weren't exposed to like kind of like underground, sort of like niche or whatever musical influences. So we started playing stuff that no one else was playing, like mashups of like funky house, garage, grime, and sort of like curating that every month, sort of like a monthly sort of club night, moving it around different places until we found like one place that we stayed in for quite a while. And that's kind of how it started. So we kind of basically took what people were playing in sort of like more urban clubs around here, or whether it be somewhere down in South London or North London or West London, and we kind of just put it in a place where people are not necessarily exposed to it. So kind of like introducing them to new stuff and kind of getting DJs that wouldn't necessarily play in that sort of area. Like we brought Matt Jam Lamont to play one of our parties in Dalston, and that's not necessarily a crowd that he's probably used to, but they're really receptive to that sort of kind of music. So it's kind of like blending like really underground sort of stuff with people that are like someone like Matt Jam Lamont, who's an actual legend. He's been in the trenches. He's timeless sort of music and kind of like molding those two worlds. So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Wow, Agostinho, right? So with DJs, what kind of DJs are you currently sort of following or do you like right now?
There's quite a lot of DJs that I like right now that are kind of sort of probably influencing what I'm listening to. I'm a big fan of DJ Dixon. He's like a really big fan of him, and he's like this German DJ that plays like really deep, sort of like housey, melodic, techno-y kind of stuff. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's just really good. And he's just like probably like a master technician. He's really good at mixing. Like he does really amazing, clean transitions between tracks and stuff. And it's something, and he's really honed that craft of just making it seamless, like as if he's playing like one long tune. It's really good. I listen to a lot of DJs. Most of my DJs I'm interested are usually Berlin or German influence. So this guy called Atta, this guy called Gerd Hansen, Marcel Dietmann, Seth Troxler, who I mentioned earlier, he's another big influence. Jamie Jones is a DJ. Quite a lot of these kind of guys, and they're generally people that I listen to as DJs. Not necessarily more, as producers. Like I don't really follow their productions that much, but more so this is DJs because they have a really good taste in music. And probably my number one favorite DJ of all time is DJ Harvey, who's like a really legendary, like disco kind of like psych. I don't know how whatever music you can describe what he plays, but he's like a really eclectic, really geeky DJ who only DJs on like rotary mixers. Mostly plays his stuff on vinyl. Has only got into starting playing CDs recently, just because of like luggage constraints. Basically, that's the only reason why he's playing CDs. So yeah, DJ Harvey is probably my favorite, but all those other guys are probably a lot of them influence a lot of stuff I do now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about a little bit about your style, which you're going to be obviously giving a mix for us a bit later. You define yourself as an Afro house DJ. Now, I kind of understand what Afro House, but kind of maybe explain to people kind of what Afro House is and why you play it.
I wouldn't say I'm an Afro House DJ. I just say I like playing music, number one, primarily, and I like just playing music that has probably not been played a lot by a lot of people, like not just repeating the same top 50 best house, deep house, techno, whatever garage tracks that are out there. So I kind of like finding my own little niche. And I've only got into Afro House recently in the last few years, maybe the last 3 or 4 years. My little brothers are really into it more so than me. They will kind of listen to it a lot when I used to go back home and see my mum and stuff, and listen to a lot of Congolese music, a lot of Afro music. Like a lot of the parties that they go to are usually that kind of music, so I kind of got into it. And then I just noticed that there was a niche that I could fit into where not a lot of people were playing it outside of that kind of like core demographic of maybe urban, like for lack of a better term, like urban kind of crowd. So I kind of wanted to perfect it and take it a little bit higher and sort of like mix it with like Afro beats, or maybe mix it with like Afro house stuff, like people that like big producers like Black Coffee sort of stuff, like mix it into it. So I guess I define myself more as a DJ, and I happen to play Afro house too. But it happens to be really good music, so it doesn't necessarily matter where it's from, really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's kind of good because obviously you showed that obviously you've got a wide sort of range of things you can draw upon.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Afro house, you mentioned Black Coffee, and I was just thinking in my mind that's probably going to be one of the biggest sort of Afro house ambassadors.
Yeah.
But okay, in terms of records and more thinking about producers and record labels, what kind of producers and record labels are you following within that genre, considering that you obviously do listen to other stuff, but within the Afro house genre, who's the kind of...
There's this one, there's probably only one really big standout one. The rest, there's quite a lot of people that make songs, but in terms of following the productions and stuff like that and kind of listen to it, because I tend not to focus too much on production and more just on just songs and making sure the music is amazing and I vibe with it, because I haven't really got into producing yet, so I'm just kind of trying to hone my craft as a DJ. But in terms of production skills, there's this collective called Homeboys Music, and they kind of like mix live percussion and like electronic stuff, and it's just like a really mad mix of stuff into like live instrumentals and really crazy stuff. And they do amazing live shows where they kind of like play dubs of their tracks and kind of improvise them on stage. It's really like, it's kind of like changes your idea on what I don't know, African house music would sound like, and also kind of pushes the envelope in terms of like live electronic music, because you see a lot of people doing that sort of stuff now where they'll kind of bring in a keyboard and bring in some of an instrument to play, and they sort of do the same sort of thing, but like in that kind of realm as well, where they can kind of riff off each other, and it's really, and those guys are really good. So I'd say Homeboys Music are definitely the people that I kind of look out for production wise. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, we're gonna sort of be winding up in a bit, yeah. In terms of like decks, when did you get your equipment? And obviously, I don't know, what did you first get?
Decks and stuff and equipment. The parties that we tend to do normally in bars and clubs that would usually have CDJs, so they predominantly have CDJs in it. So I learned how to mix and stuff with CDJs. But in the beginning, when I had no equipment, I used to have one vinyl deck, which I currently have at the moment, which is broken. I used to play with one vinyl deck and kind of like mix with that, just one vinyl deck, and just kind of like run effects through a laptop to mix transitions and then kind of switch decks in between like that. And then when I finally started discovering that there's this thing called a MIDI controller, then I started buying those and using those at home. And then when we go to a club, because I didn't want to carry my laptop and my MIDI controller with me, I'll just burn whatever I played at home onto CDs and then play that into a club. And that usually used to work really well, but obviously sometimes there might come a point where you just forget to put something on a playlist and you think you have that CD but you don't, so that kind of does throw up a lot of curveballs. But at the moment I play with a MIDI controller at home and usually one vinyl deck, so sometimes I can throw in an oddball here and there, and then when I play out, I tend to play out on CDJs or whatever's there really. If they've got vinyl decks, I can bring some vinyl too.
Okay, so you're comfortable with your controller and CD?
Yeah.
Because obviously sometimes people might mix on the controller at home and then go to a club and you can't make the transition. But okay, cool. Listen, it's been a pleasure. I'm probably obviously looking forward to your mix as well. I want to hear what you're going to play for us as well. In terms of music, because obviously when you apply for the Spinners Lounge, you send the link to your SoundCloud, and I really like the stuff, what you had up on there. Do you want to kind of share with people where they can find your music as well? And also, before you get into it as well, share with them details of your promotion as well that you hold.
Yeah, so at the moment, most of my stuff can be found on SoundCloud under the heading of House and Hertz, which is kind of just like a side project I'm doing at the moment with a couple of friends, where we kind of put all our mixes out on one sort of place, and then eventually when we start producing, we'll put all our production mixes and stuff on there as well for free. So that's all on there too. So just follow that on SoundCloud. That's House and Hertz, all spelled one word. And I've also got a SoundCloud page just for me, which is DJ Agostinho. Again, I didn't pick a good DJ name, so that's quite hard, easy to link to.
No, but Agostinho is a nice name. It's a cool name. That's me. If it, like you said earlier on, if you change it to something else, it might not work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can find a couple of my stuff on there too, and I currently do a disco party at the King Edward the 7th, which is on Stratford Broadway, usually the last Friday of the month. But you can find most of that information again through the SoundCloud. I've got like little links on there that I put onto Facebook and stuff. So just follow the SoundCloud link, you'll get all the updates on there, and yeah.
Okay. And with the night at the King Edward, what is that night? What kind of music is it? People going to listen to?
The music you listen to at the King Edward would usually just be like a disco, sort of like chilled out funk sort of style music, like perfect music for a bar where you just want to have a couple of drinks after work and maybe shake a leg or two. Nothing too super heavy, but it's quite a good opportunity to play music again to like a different demographic than what I'm predominantly used to. You get a bit more of an older crowd, a little bit more of a mature crowd in terms of ear, so they kind of appreciate stuff that's a little bit more far out, a little bit more older and stuff. And plus as well, they want to just hear some hits too, so it's quite fun.
Okay, that's cool. So SoundCloud, the King Edward, if you want to go down and catch him last Friday of every month.
Yeah, last Friday of every month.
And what time is it? So
it runs from 8 till 12, and the SoundCloud page is House and Hertz.
House and Hertz.
Yeah.
Right, everyone, it's been a pleasure talking to Agostinho. Like I said, it's from my neck of the woods, and it was a pleasure to do it as well. So keep watching the Spinners Lounge. This is me, Chili. Peace and over and out. Bye.